from this, like one of the under themes of us talking about this is like fundamentally things don't have to be that serious. Kind of how we were talking about, or you were mentioning at the start. Like, if you want to do the extra stuff and go to the extra tournaments and do all that stuff, like that's fine, but you don't have to go ape shit. Like, it doesn't have to be the most serious thing ever. And so, I guess most of our maybe not most. I feel like we're pretty balanced overall when we talk about things, but we have a tone of be be dialed in, detail oriented, all these kinds of things that we think contribute to success as a player, moving on to higher levels. But then when is it too much now? Like, when is it too serious, or when is it actually detrimental that you're being as serious as you're being? Because we know guys too, and I would actually almost put myself when I played towards that camp, not quite, but where it was like I was just very paying attention to things that I was supposed to be doing, to the point where I was in my own head. It was detrimental to me. But there's guys we see that are just so serious, and it's like, you're not actually good. You know what I mean? There's that piece of it, or it becomes like a mental issue where it's for you. It's like you're so locked in. You mentioned Matt Martin a couple weeks ago, talking about how he was just like, yeah, I'm just playing. I like to play, and didn't really see any of this other stuff coming. Not that he was the most dialed in guy ever or whatever, but so kind of, what are your thoughts about that? Like, when
Well,
things are cross the line.
yeah, it's a really good question. It's a really good topic, and there's going to be a lot of different thoughts on it because some guys are just real serious and some guys aren't. Some guys are complete goofs and they end up being good players and they don't have to dial in anything, right? But when you're talking about how serious some people are, like when you're a dad, you gotta, like, here's the thing. There's a point where I guess it always comes back down to this is like how serious, like when are you too serious? Is, well, it depends how serious you are about the game. It depends how serious, what level that you're playing. Like, you can't expect and but although some parents do this, I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, you have a game tomorrow, you need to go, like a 10-year-old or a 14, 13-year-old, like a young kid, like, you have to eat this yet, like they're freaking 10 or 9 or 11 or 15. Like, it's not the end of the world if they're not totally dialed in the week of their game. Do you know what I mean? Because kids are really like, they're fine. It's a game to them. There's a point in life where hockey becomes, if you're good enough, if you're dedicated enough, where it becomes serious, and it's no fun. Obviously, that's hence the word serious. But there's a point where someone controls what time you're going to be there, and you got to be at rink at X amount of time, and like it's so serious because it's about wins and losses and people's futures that it that the fun is almost taken away because it is so serious. But anyways, as a kid, like, and parents, it's like, that's my question, is like, what makes you that important that you have to be that serious about things? Because I question when people do things, it's like, but you're not that serious about the kid's school. And that's what everyone says is the most important thing in life. But you don't make kids spend hours doing math, make them shoot pucks, right? Like, people talk out of both sides of their mouth and their ass at the same time, right? So, and again, it comes back to, like, when you're so serious, like when your ass is puckered so tight you couldn't pull a pin out of your ass with a tow truck, you're too serious, right? You're too serious. Like, you're not having fun, and you have to be able to relax a little bit and get into a groove, and then I think serious, like, it depends what we call serious, but I think, again, if we put so much weight on a game or a individual event or something like that, if we put so much weight on it, then it imposes seriousness on you, right? Like, there's a championship game more serious than the first game of the year? Is it? It's just a game. And is it the tryout or like going to your first pro camp or OHL camp? Like, I understand it's serious, but it's like, it's still the same thing every day. It's prepare on a daily basis. Like, and you can have a lot of fun working out. You have a lot of fun training. When you're at home, you don't have to watch hockey videos all night unless that's something that you choose to do. Like, I think that's the extreme you're talking about, right?
So I'll ask it this way, because you said at the start of this, like, some guys are more dialed in than others, yet they could have a similar level of, say, success, generally speaking. So I could have the guy that before the game doesn't want to talk to anybody. He wants to put his headphones in and not just focus on what he's got to do. And he's a great, 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 great player. You got the other guy that wants to joke around and play sewer and pull jokes on guys and whatever half an hour before the game, and he can go out there and be a phenomenal player also. So where because people are different, it's like where would you, or maybe you can't, where would you put the line of okay, you've crossed over into too serious land? Would it be at the point where it's now negatively impacting your own performance or negatively impacting your own thoughts about what you need to be doing? Or is there just not really
I
a
don't know if
mark?
there's a line, but I think it's when it affects other people.
Okay,
You know what
that's
I mean?
interesting.
So like if well, you see it, man. There's guys like that. They have the music on, can't talk to me, but and it's also they're in the way of other things. It's the guy at there you go, right? There's the guy at, let's say it's the warm ups, your team warm up. I'm talking like a real warm up, not minor hockey 2 minutes, but I'm talking like you got like the 10-15 minute warm up, and the guy's on his own page doing his own thing, but it's actually distracting the other team. Like it's a team time now. If it's in practice and this guy's got to work on his stuff, not like it's all about him. Like that's what I would say is becomes it's a distraction to other people, because really at the end of the day, if everyone's got their own way to do it, and if and now you could as a coach or as a teammate, a captain or whatever, if I see that you're puckered up pretty tight, I might be able to want to talk to you a little bit and just say, hey, loosen up a little bit, but that might not be your thing, and that's up to you to figure out, right? But I think it always still goes back to this, like 100%, is if you can understand that there are no big moments. Like I know that take that with a grain of salt, but there's like everything's the same. It's only different, right? It's the same game. It's the same routine. It's the same thing every day. If you prepare properly, and that means you practice, you put the work in, right? Then you're going to be what you are. If that so if you need to listen to headphones and listen to Jocko Willink in your ear for 6 hours, then that's what you need to do, right? If you need to have a protein shake at its exact time, then that's fine. That's you. But the other thing I would say is, um, when I know you agree with this 100%, is like you have to have the ability to know when to turn things on and when to turn things off, right? So there's a time and a place for you to be an individual and worry about stuff. That's fine. But there's a time and place where it's now about the team. There's a time and place where you get to be a jackass all day because it's not really affecting anybody else's life. Like, or you could joke around and all that stuff. But then there's a time and place where you're joking around is like, you're distracting me, dude. So when it's time to practice, right, you could have a smile on your face in practice and be very, very serious, right? But in that hour and a half, you need to be dialed in. But dialed in doesn't mean like you got mean mug, right? Eyes crossed, nose crossed, ears crossed, freaking feet crossed. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you're dialed in, you're doing to do your job. When your rep's over, maybe you're paying attention stuff, but you do that well. When practice is over, if you need time to reevaluate or whatever, that's fine. But it's like, okay, that's done. Now you can turn the jets off. If it's a workout time, like you can do whatever you want, but when it's time to work out, that hour and a half, whatever it is, dial in and be focused, be present, be in the moment. And I think as long as you do that for everything that you do in your life, then you're going to have good outcomes, or the best outcomes that you can.
Well,